Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh alongside Paul Zeise. We're going to be taking your phone calls tonight, 412-575-2600. We're going to be taking your phone calls on the Penn Hills football team who just won the 5A state title. You know, I'm pretty excited, Paul, because I bleed red and gold because I'm a former Penn Hills.
No, that's good. I think you should be excited. Anytime any of our teams from this side of the state go and win the state title, that's good. I mean, because the bottom line is, with the way things are going in Philadelphia, with all these charter schools and everything else and all the, it's going to become tougher and tougher and tougher. So anytime a school from this side of the state, from a Whippeal, that's a public school, wins it, I'm happy. So I was really happy, and hopefully tomorrow Aliquippa goes and wins it. Yeah,
that would be nice to see two teams come from this side of the state, although Wilmington didn't fare well. Farrell won yesterday, but Penn Hills really they really dominated this game right from the beginning, the end of the first half. And this kid, Daquan Hardy, it might be one of the most impressive individual performances I've seen in the state championship game. You know, I would put that right up there with Revis. You remember what he did for Aliquippa. I think it was 5 touchdowns. Yeah, he was amazing, five different ways. But Daquan Hardy, he had a couple touchdowns on offense. He had a 101-yard interception return, another interception, and a kickoff return. He was just all over the field.
Oh yeah, it was pretty. I was there that day for Darrell Revis.
Were you?
It was pretty tremendous. He also blocked a punt, I think, for a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't really remember the specifics. I remember the 5 touchdowns.
That led to a touchdown too. I'm not a punt. He blocked a field goal. He blocked a field goal, and one of his other guys picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown.
I would put this almost on the same level as that.
I think the one thing I will say is Revis literally was almost a one-man team that day. I mean, it was. What he did, I mean, he played some quarterback. He started the game, he played some quarterback, he played some receiver, he played tight end, he played running back, he played 3 or 4 different positions on defense. He was on special teams. It was basically, Mike Smianik said, you know what, this is a guy right here who they can't stop. And really, if you looked at I forget who they played like somebody like Mount Carmel, one of those teams from out
Southern
there.
Columbia, maybe? Was it? I forget who it was.
It was one of those teams like that from out there. But if you looked at if you took Revis off the field, really, it wasn't even close. Team, you know, player for player. Team,
yeah.
You know, I mean, the team they played was like one of these teams. They had a bunch of guys from the coal region or whatever. They were all big, strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they were really good.
Might not have been Southern Columbia.
I'm trying to think. I think it was Mount Carmel or somebody like that. Whoever it was, doesn't matter. My point is, Revis was really special, but this kid was special tonight.
Or Steelton or something like that. Whatever. That was a while ago, but yeah, this was a great individual performance. And what I wanted to ask you, Daquan Hardy, he's getting looks at a lot of MAC schools. He hasn't committed anywhere yet. I think Michigan State, Nebraska were in on him early on and offered him scholarships, but haven't really talked to him much over the season. Now, this is a kid. If he has a performance like this, don't you think offers are going to pour in? Maybe like a Pitt. I mean, Pitt's right in his backyard. I saw DeMar Hamlin tweeting out, hey, Coach Narduzzi, take a look at this guy.
Yeah. I mean, again, it all depends on what Pitt needs.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times that's what, you know, you can't take every kid, and I don't know what Pitt needs in terms of receivers or defensive backs. And so to me, usually those are the kind of kids, those athlete kids, you just take them and figure out what you're going to do with them.
Yeah, and I know.
So, yeah, I mean, he's going to get, obviously, I think he'll get a few more looks. I mean, you do this in the biggest stage in the state, somebody's going to notice, you know, so, yeah.
You know, it'd be nice, and I know they don't do this, and maybe it'll extend the season too long, but I would like to see the 5A champion play the 6A champion or something like that to see who might be the best team in this area, or the 4A, or you know, put 2 of those teams together for like
this area. But I mean, like I think if Penn Hills
played in the 6A, they would get
played St. Joe's.
They would get steamrolled.
I mean, St. Joe's. I mean, some of those teams at 6A. I mean, but the whole point is Penn Hills is really, really good. They're probably one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the state, regardless of class. You know.
Yeah.
They won. They went undefeated. There's not a whole lot you can say about anything negative about the season. It was a great season. I'm happy for them. You know, John LaDawn, the head coach, I covered him when he was at Aliquippa.
And I was going to ask you, do you know, is he the only player coach to win a state title? Because he won a state title in Aliquippa. I'd imagine he's probably not, but he won a state title playing for Aliquippa, now won a state title coaching for Penn Hill.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know that. I would be willing to bet there's probably happened, but the thing about it is the state championship didn't start to what, 88, 89?
And the Whippeal wasn't in it for so many years.
That's
right?
what I mean.
Yeah.
And so to me, there might, that generation of players might just now start, coaching. Oh, well, no, I'll tell you who, Kasparovich.
Oh, won it for North Hills.
He was at North Hills. He won it.
Yeah, and then won it.
He won it last year.
When did they win it? 90, early 90s or something?
It was like 92, 93. I mean, he was a man-child in that game, too, by the way.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but
I do.
He's a great coach.
He was really good. I tell you another unbelievable performance, and we're talking about it. Brandon Short, McKeesport.
In the state championship.
Unbelievable. One of the most dominating performances I've ever seen by a linebacker, a defensive player in any game. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Go ahead.
All right, we got to take a break. Back with some of your phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Bordas & Bordas hotline, or maybe we'll entertain some tweets. We're taking your phone calls next on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters.